Welcome to Kappa Kappa Gamma's 150th Founders Day celebration. In 1970, I arrived on the Monmouth College campus as a freshman, transported 5,000 miles from my home state of Hawaii to the Midwest. Returning today, 50 years later, as your president, to celebrate our Sesquicentennial 150 years after Kappa was begun here, feels absolutely surreal. It is my privilege and great pleasure to be here, where it all began. Today, we articulate Kappa's mission as uniting women to learn, grow, and inspire positive change throughout their lives. Today, we celebrate the ideals that our founders dared to dream. So join me for a stroll through our storied history as we celebrate 150 years of sisterhood in Kappa Kappa Gamma. In Kappa lore, a bridge stood here on the grounds of Monmouth College 150 years ago. Things looked different then. Campus was smaller, much of the land here was wooded, undeveloped, and their bridge crossed a creek, now lost to time. It was here where our founders dreamed of something new. You know, as I try to imagine our founders walking this campus in 1870, I wonder what their world must have been like. Life on the prairie wasn't easy. They were trailblazers who attended one of the earliest colleges to admit women on equal footing as men. In those times, women didn't have the same privileges as men. Before founding Kappa, some of our founders joined a literary society for women where they participated in debate. In their world, that was considered progressive. To be strong-minded and even to speak their mind was considered taboo. But attending college and holding debates with other women was just not enough. They wanted more. They wanted a society that would offer them mutual support and camaraderie, like what the men on campus had. They launched a Greek letter fraternity for women, a sisterhood. It has been suggested they were inspired by an 1869 lecture delivered in Monmouth by women's rights activist Elizabeth Cady Stanton. One of our founders, Mary Louise Bennett, explained their decision to start Kappa in simple words. She said, "The world seemed to be moving too slowly for us." Undoubtedly, some of our youngest members feel that same way now. By founding Kappa Kappa Gamma, our founders lit one of the earliest sparks that ignited change for women at Monmouth and beyond. The founders wanted women beyond Monmouth to have the same benefits of friendship and support. Within 4 years of founding Alpha Chapter, they established 5 more chapters across the Midwest. But meanwhile, the sentiment toward Greek letter organizations at Monmouth had changed. In 1874, the Monmouth College Senate banned all fraternities, men's and women's alike. At first, Alpha Chapter was undeterred by the decision. Writing to Delta Chapter at Indiana University in 1874, Alpha Chapter's Alice Pillsbury wrote, "It will cause us much trouble, no doubt, but trust us to face it and never give up." After 1874, the accounts of Alpha's history vary, but by 1884, Alpha Chapter had officially ceased. One might think that without the mothership, the future was unclear. But from 1881 to 1884, the young but savvy Tate Hartsuff Koons, who became our first Grand President when she was still a senior in college, she steered the ship. Skilled in parliamentary law, Tate proposed a new structure for Kappa, paving the way for future success. By 1934, when Alpha Chapter was reinstated, Kappa chapters thrived on 70 campuses. Yet, times were not always easy. Since our founding, there's always been much work to be done, both in Kappa and for all women. Over these decades of growth, our sisters have seen war and peace, mapped the moon landing, fought for the right to vote, and blazed trails into countless fields once available only to men. In a 1926 letter to the fraternity, founders Lou Bennett Boyd and Jenny Boyd shared their concern and their hope for the future. "We are assured that as the coming years shall widen the fields of usefulness for those who follow us, so will the influence of Kappa be found on the side of those forward movements which enlist the hearty support of every true and loyal woman, and which are so vital in these days of unrest and danger to our homes and to the foundations of our great republic." Lou and Jenny wrote these words during the Jazz Age, a time of flappers and fun. But there was also unrest, from fears of communism to ongoing racism, and labor issues to immigration quotas, and social tension, including the beginning of women's health rights. The founders were wise before their time and recognized that Kappas would rise to the occasion and contribute to the vital change. We are stronger every year because our tradition teaches us to lead through change. Every generation has had to reflect on its inheritance in the context of its time and its members' needs. Each of us has been charged with examining every aspect of our organization's identity, its purpose, its heritage, its goals, and its values, and in that examination, to take stock. To have thrived for our first 150 years, we have had to remember that values, not circumstances, are definitive. A central focus of our mission has been to foster the development of women's minds, beginning in their undergraduate years and extending throughout their lives. Kappa's scholarship program can be traced to as early as 1902. And last year, over $2 million was awarded to 602 women. Academic excellence and opportunity have been hallmarks of Kappa's mission from the start, and with every year we expand our reach and our ability to serve women. And speaking of reaching women, our philanthropic pursuits remain at our core. In 1892, the preamble of our bylaws spoke of service. Service to others is a natural outcome of the fraternity belief that Kappa's strong union can be a guiding force for mutual helpfulness. In 1922, after quietly covering Rose McGill's medical costs, Beta Psi chapter at Toronto asked the fraternity to help with Rose's expenses. Nearly a century later, the fund in Rose's name reaches women with confidential aid from caring sisters when facing life's challenges, from unexpected circumstances like natural disasters to medical expenses or loss of income. During COVID-19 and recent disasters, Rose McGill Aid has provided hope for members suffering losses. And to think that this spark of sisterhood, the one that began in our formative years and remains constant, whether in the toughest time or the best of times, began as the bold dream of 6 college students who embraced truth, respect, connection, knowledge, and optimism, all while they trailblazed their way onto the scene. On our 150th Founders Day, we are honored to raise a candle for each founder as we commemorate these brave women.
As former fraternity presidents, we are honored to share the Founders Day ceremony with you as we celebrate our sesquicentennial anniversary of the founding of our fraternity on October 13th, 1870. The Founders Day ceremony dates from 1949, when Elizabeth Gilchrist, Cornell, prepared information for the Washington, D.C. alumni celebration of Founders Day. Later, Helena Flynn Agee, Pittsburgh, former fraternity president, put it into ceremonial form. In the early 1990s, Jean Hess Wells, Georgia, former fraternity president and fraternity ritualist, edited it using additional researched information. The current ceremony represents a more historically accurate version, depicting the roles our 6 founders played in the founding of our fraternity.
On October 13, 1870, 6 young women students at Monmouth College marched into chapel wearing little golden keys, proclaiming the founding of their fraternity, Kappa, Kappa, Gamma. It is fitting that at our Founders Day celebration, we honor these women of vision, to whom we owe so much.
I raise this candle in memory of Mary Moore Stewart, the first to think of organizing a Greek letter fraternity for women at Monmouth College. She served as the first president of Alpha Chapter and the fraternity, as Kappa chapters were founded on other campuses.
I light this candle in memory of Hannah Jeanette Boyd. She served as the first secretary of Alpha Chapter and the first secretary of the fraternity.
I raise this candle in memory of Mary Louise Bennett. She was one of the original 4 who met to decide the form of organization, the motto, and the badge.
I raise this candle in memory of Anna Elizabeth Willits. She played a significant role in selecting the fraternity badge, a golden key.
I raise this candle in memory of Susan Burley Walker. She was the first initiate and the youngest of our founders, being only 16 at the time of her initiation. And she was the first alumna of the fraternity.
I raise this candle in memory of Martha Louise Stevenson, who entertained the first regular meeting of Kappa Kappa Gamma at her home in Monmouth.
These candles honor the great fraternity they founded, now 150 years old, with its 173 chapters, chartered since 1870, its 463 alumni associations and clubs who have been chartered throughout the past 150 years, and its 301,006 members. Kappa Kappa Gamma, the inspiration of our ideas and the foundation of our ever-growing circle of friendship.
The Monmouth College Courier once explained that Kappa's founders were on a voyage of discovery. That voyage wouldn't have been possible without the support of so many in the communities and on campuses across the United States and Canada. We are so thankful for the support of the colleges and universities that have contributed to the success of our chapters and the growth of individual members, and the opportunity to contribute to the local communities in which we establish ourselves. Today, in the Monmouth community that has nurtured Kappa Kappa Gamma for 150 years, we welcome a tremendous supporter of Kappa, Monmouth College President, Dr. Clarence Wyatt.
Thank you, Gail. It brings me great pleasure to congratulate Kappa Kappa Gamma on the 150th anniversary of its establishment here at Monmouth College. We are also very proud of the fact that our own Gail Owen is the national president of Kappa at this very difficult time for higher education. She's bringing the same steady hand, good humor, and strong character to that role that she does as an alumna and a trustee of Monmouth College. One of the things that intrigued my wife Loie and me from the very beginning about Monmouth was the fact that women were fully part of this community, fully part of the student body from its establishment. And that legacy of the empowerment of women continues to this day. And in fact, it was a central theme of my installation as president some years ago. So again, my thanks to Gail, our congratulations to the Alpha chapter of Kappa Kappa Gamma on this important anniversary, and congratulations to all the Sisters of Kappa across the country and around the world. Thanks.
Sitting here in the charter room of the Stewart House Museum, you can really feel the history. In looking back on 150 years of Kappa, we find hope in the efforts of those who have come before us. We celebrate their courage and find ourselves inspired to hold the light that they have passed to us, as we find ourselves filled with the bold promise of future generations of Kappas. When we think of this light that is passed from generation to generation of Kappas, we think of the passing of the light ceremony that symbolizes this tradition. It is my pleasure to share this beautiful and time-honored tradition.
Good evening, and welcome to the 2020 Virtual Passing of the Light celebration. The Passing of the Light service began in 1935, when Charlotte Barrow Ware, Grand President 1884 to 1888, was attending the Alpha Province Convention. At the banquet, she spontaneously passed one of her candlesticks, since left to the fraternity, to the delegate from the oldest chapter in the province, and one to the youngest, to hold as a symbol of the eternal flame which lights the way for each generation to seek the attainment of Kappa's high ideals. Inscribed on the candlesticks is, "How far the little light throws his beams, so shines a good deed in a naughty world." Tonight's ceremony will be presented by Gail Owen, Fraternity President, and 14 chapter presidents representing our 14 districts. Betsy Strain, Sesquicentennial Chairman, and Karen Bosch, Sesquicentennial Vice Chairman, will be our readers.
This glowing candle, passed from Kappa to Kappa, carries the light handed down from founders through the years, symbol of lasting friendship, love enduring. From past to present to future, Kappas of every age have caught the vision and passed it on to younger hands to hold in cherished trust. Chapter unto chapter, through passing generations, the continuity provides an even brighter light to guide our future. In Alpha Chapter 1870, this flame was struck, then passed to others near. The widening glow of that bright beam spread across the years and miles to distant bounds. We lit the flame and passed it on.
We held it high, it did not fail.
We kept it burning clear and strong.
We pledged the light shall never pale.
We guard full well this ancient flame.
We share with love its precious light.
We tend the glow in Kappa's name.
We treasure still the candle bright.
We honor well this symbol dear.
We shield with care its shining rays.
We hand it on to sisters near.
We keep it bright for future days.
We lift it high, it shall not fail.
We cherish it forevermore.
So hath the light been passed, and hath not failed. You are the keepers of this ancient flame. You are the flame. You are the wick, the wax of that eternal candle sent to guide our path. You, dear Kappas of this stately fleur-de-lis, you are the keepers and bearers of this flame. So shall the light be passed, and shall not fail. So hath it burned. So shall it ever be. In 1970, when I stepped foot on campus, I had never seen a brick building, corn growing, heard a trade whistle, or experienced snow. I knew no one. Kappa welcomed me, shepherded me, and continues to nurture as it gives me the chance to support other women. I learned that the story of Kappa is a story of commitment. We have invested in each other, campus to campus, country to country, generation to generation. How will you take all that you have been given to make the world a better place for every Kappa who follows? 150 years ago, our founders started Kappa to gain the equal right to engage in the scholarship, leadership, philanthropy, social life, and later professional association. The Monmouth Bridge was the birthplace of our journey, the starting point of a voyage of discovery. It's a journey we are still on today. Only 150 years of Kappa history has been written. The story of Kappa is still young. As we reflect on where we began, what we have done with all that has been given to us, most important is how we, together, intend to build a bridge to Kappa's next 150 years of empowering women. Beth Ingram Davis, Miami University, put it this way: Kappa is you, Kappa is me, and in the very end, Kappa is another beginning.